Screw you, Dave.
Okay. It's not the way I was expecting a Tuesday morning show to start, but...
Well, no,
okay.
I was saying to you what Jey Uso said to CM Punk last night.
I gotta tell you, though, if I had to pick a winner in that battle of words between Uso and Punk, I would pick Jey Uso.
He sounded pretty serious last night.
Yeah, like Punk kind of, got a little wordy, like kind of lost me just a little bit, very unpunk-like. But Jey Uso is very sure. First of all, he took a long pregnant pause before talking, and he kind of just was looking at Punk. And then, yeah, it was short and sweet, and I was like, you know what? That was a nice jab to the nose to CM Punk before their match coming up on Saturday night's main event.
I love a good pregnant pause. I'm not joking around either. I really do. Because what does a pregnant pause do in professional wrestling? It builds
crowd
anticipation.
Yeah. And you felt it from the crowd last night. Like, I thought the crowd was just a little bit flat. They were hot early on. We'll get to that. But it got a little, he got the crowd going because they were actually anticipating what he was going to say. So I know it's about what happens in the ring on Saturday. But I thought, as far as the war of words, Jey Uso won with a nice jab to the nose of CM Punk last night.
Good way to open Raw. It's pretty funny because after we went off the air yesterday, I don't know if you remember what I said to you. I was like, I wonder if they're going to open up with Punk and Jey Uso, and then the Vision will attack them. And then later in the night, we'll get the Vision versus CM Punk and Jey Uso with the whole, but can they get along?
Yeah, I mean, you know what, though? If this was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, that's exactly what would have happened, Bully. But as you know, Triple H has tried to get away from the cookie cutter Monday Night Raw formula. But yeah, if that was 2019, Bully, that's exactly what would have happened. You would have gotten the attack, and then you would have said, could they coexist, Jey Uso and CM Punk, for this main event tag match with Division? But that's not what happened, and I'm glad it didn't.
Did the opening segment last night give you a glimpse into the possible finish of Saturday night's main event? Did, like, after listening to those two guys last night, after listening to Punk and Jey Uso, do you think somebody's going to come out the definitive winner?
No. But I don't think it's going to be the Vision. I think it's going to be Jimmy Uso.
Okay.
That's what I think now. But, like, I was talking about it with Paul and Kelly before the show, and it does have that feeling like we're not going to get a definitive winner. And here's why. Because if I had to pick a winner, Bully, if you said, all right, Dave, you got to pick a winner, I would probably pick Punk to be the winner. And with everything that's happened with CM Punk, all the drama, all the missteps, him being champion for 5 minutes, it just doesn't feel like a big enough spot for Punk to finally become world heavyweight champion. So you said it yesterday, and I didn't agree with it when you said it yesterday. But after thinking about it for the last 24 hours and watching Raw last night, I don't think we're going to get a definitive winner on Saturday night's main event between those two.
You no longer think the Vision is going to ruin the match. You think Jimmy Uso is going to ruin the match.
I do.
Okay.
And I like how, and this is something that we hated about Monday Night Raw when you and I used to have to talk about it 6-7 years ago, how things didn't make logical sense and they would never connect the dots. I like how they connected the dots last night because, Braun's like, man, we should have just went down there and kicked ass. But, like, Paul's like, look, we're already in hot water with Adam Pearce as it is. That's not what we want to do. Like, we got to play smart. We can't let our emotions get the best of us. And Braun's like, but Braun wants a match. I already got you a match. And it was LA Knight. So I thought that was interesting. I thought the match with Braun and LA Knight was interesting as well. There's a lot, again, I know I say this a lot with Raw. There's a lot of layers to this, Bully. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't think there's going to be a definitive winner, and somehow, I think it's going to be Jimmy Uso that plays a factor in this match on Saturday.
Okay. I can understand why you think it would be Jimmy. So Braun is now the number one contender to whoever wins between Punk and Jey Uso, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think we get a winner, which sets up a definitive triple threat. What do you think?
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Now, the triple threat with Braun.
Now, wait
Punk,
a second. I don't mean to jump in, but the only thing that makes me think that that's not going to happen is now we're going to get a triple threat with the Intercontinental Championship. So would they have 2 triple threats?
I was gonna add on to that thought.
Sorry.
So as of right now, we have a definitive triple threat. But can't you see Bronson Reed going, "Oh, what about me?" Why is Bronson just kind of taking the back seat to Braun Breaker when it comes to the match? Why is he standing there like he doesn't want a piece of everybody just as much as Braun Breaker does?
Yeah, Bronson Reed seems to be playing that role of being the lackey to Braun Breaker right now. I think that's going to be I don't know if that's going to happen now, but it's possible.
I don't want to use the word lackey.
It feels that way.
I felt like Braun and Bronson were Seth's lackeys. I think they stepped out of that shadow. Obviously, with Seth not around anymore, I don't feel like he's the lackey. I feel like he's going along to get along right now. But I want to see Bronson just as involved as Braun. And then instead of the triple threat, that's what I want to see. That's when I want to see a 4-way. And I'm not a big fan of 4-ways and all that stuff. But, well, I take that back. Some 4-ways are kind of fun. I'm not a big fan of 4-ways in professional wrestling. But with those 4 guys, it would make sense. And I don't want to see Bronson Reed just take... Because everything that Braun Breaker has done, Bronson Reed has done also. Let's not forget that Bronson Reed also hit the tsunamis on Seth Rollins after Braun Breaker speared him out of his socks.
Well, let me ask you this. Like, you know, I know we're thinking likely there's going to be a non-finish. Could there be a finish? I mean, can you see a world where either Jey Uso or CM Punk is the world heavyweight champion? And does it seem like that's what fans want to see right now? It just feels like there's a little bit of a backlash with this match between CM Punk and Jey Uso.
Word association. You say CM Punk, I say too soon. You say Jey Uso, I say placeholder. It doesn't feel like the right place for CM Punk to win this big one, but he did say the championship was like air to him last night. Air is important. Without air, what do?
You can't breathe. You die.
We die. So he's saying that I need this championship, otherwise I'm going to be Martha, dead.
It's interesting going back to last night, Bully, and I'm sure you picked up on this. Jey Uso comes out. You get the normal Jey Uso reception from the fans. Everybody's yeeting like crazy. He's in the ring. He does the rollback. Let's do it again. And everybody's yeeting. But then once it stopped.
CM Punk chants.
Yeah, not only, even before that, there were, like when he was standing in the ring and it was completely silent, there were boos. And then the CM Punk chant. I'm like, wow. Like he's standing there, no music. And then you hear definitive boos from the crowd. And then you got the very loud CM Punk chants.
What was the last thing we saw Jey Uso do?
I get it, but they had no problem doing the eating like crazy last night when he came out.
Because they're programmed to do it.
This would have to be, Bully, the definition of what you just said. Like you preach that all the time, especially with Seth Rollins. But this was the definitive definition of being programmed when you have 13,000 fans yeeting in unison. But then as soon as the music stops, there's boos.
When the music stops, we're now allowed to use our own mind again. And we go, oh, you fucked over your brother.
It was I just never saw it that definitive like I did last night.
But Dave, this is why, old school pro wrestling dictates that there's a reason why the people that are there are on the other side of the guardrail. They pay to see you perform, speak, wrestle, whatever. You control them. They don't control you. You
Yes.
take them on your ride. They don't dictate to you what you should do. Like, that's about as old school as it gets. So, wrestling will program an audience. Doesn't rock and roll program us?
Yeah, it does. There's triggers, and obviously the yeet is a trigger. I also feel like the other trigger is the beginning of the show, and fans are just want to celebrate the fact that they're at Monday Night Raw. So you're giving us Jey Uso, we're gonna yeet to Jey Uso because we're just excited to be in the building.
I paid money for my seat. I'm on live television. I'm ready to rock and roll. It's like going to the Kiss concert and they play Rock and Roll by Zeppelin right before the lights go out and they say, all right, you wanted the best, you got the best. Like, we're programmed like, all right, here we go. We're starting the show. There's only 2 or 3 more minutes. I'm getting goosebumps right now because I'm actually living in the moment of being at that Kiss concert. Same thing. We're going live, Monday Night Raw goes live in 10, 9, 8, 3, 2, 1, boom, boom, we're live, pal. What are they going to do? So they're getting the people all hyped up for the beginning of the show because they want to come on the air very lively, like, wow, this is the place to be. And then they hit a babyface's music who's been doing heel shit lately, but I really love that music, so I'm getting up and I'm going to dance. And that's what I always say. At the end of the day, professional wrestling is about emotional manipulation. And that's why you get what you get. You get the music and everybody's like, yay! But the second they have a moment to think for themselves and rationalize, they go, wait a minute. You screwed over your brother last week. Boo! We don't like you. Now, that psychology class from Uncle Bully is free. The next one you're paying for.
Well, now we see Jimmy and Jey backstage, and they have words, and then later in the night, they hug it out. Like, Jey is like, I love you. The reason I took that opportunity is you didn't have that opportunity. Yes, you saved me, but there wasn't an opportunity where you could have dumped me over the top rope to win the Battle Royal. So, listen, we made that agreement, and I just went through, I love you, and they hug it out. So, knowing that, do you think, I think Jimmy's going to get involved somehow, some way, positive or negative? It could be to screw Jey. It could be to help Jey. But Jimmy, I feel like Jimmy is going to be a part of that match. After what you saw last night, have you kind of swayed a little bit more towards Jimmy Uso interfering as opposed to the Vision? If there's going to be outside interference on Saturday.
Based on your theory of it's going to be Jimmy, I think last night's backstage promo with Jimmy and Jey is to throw you off the scent a little bit. No, everything's okay. Everything's okay. Yeah, I forgive you, bro. I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy does the dirty work at Saturday night's main event, that he uses Jey's exact words from last night against him. And we would have to play the promo back for me to get those exact words. Like, hey, man, I saw an opportunity and I took it. You can't be mad at me. Where Jimmy Uso might say to Jey, hey, man, I saw an opportunity. You can't be mad at me.
And I'm wondering at some point, I feel like Roman is going to get involved in this situation. That's why I think you're right, Bully. Like, I don't see Jey Uso winning this World Heavyweight Championship because I think there's a story that's going to be a big one with Jimmy and Jey and then ultimately Roman. And you don't need a championship for that type of a story to happen.
I don't want anybody to win at Saturday night's main event. I don't want Jey to win. I don't want CM Punk to win. I would like to see this championship continue to be held up because of a variety of reasons. DQ finishes, double countouts, discrepancies, whatever it is, until they can buy some time to a match where we can have a finality to things. And at an event where it means something more than a Saturday night's main event, which has become, I guess, Saturday night's main event is a glorified house show on TV.
I think it's more than that now.
A mini PLE.
I think it's a PLE. I think it was a glorified house show. Bully, I think this new TKO mindset is everything's big. Like, I think, like, even like BP, yeah, like, listen, like, again, we talk about ticket prices. When you're charging that kind of money, people want to see big events, and I think they're putting on big events for the WWE universe. And I think Saturday night's main event is a big one. You look at this card, this is a PLA. As a matter of fact, I'm probably more excited about this show than I've been the last two PLEs from the WWE. The one thing I do want to bring up, Bully, is LA Knight, because it feels like the fans wanted LA Knight. Like, when it came to that battle royal, they were really hoping that LA Knight was going to win. I think that Jey Uso and Punk felt a little bit of the backlash because the fans were behind LA Knight. Then you get that match between Braun and LA Knight last night. LA Knight lost clean. So I'm go ahead.
And did you listen to the commentary before and during the match about whoever won this match and whoever lost this match?
It didn't grab. So go ahead.
So commentary basically said, hey, you win this match, you're the number one contender, you're going on, you're moving forward. If you lose this match, take care, brush your hair. That's what commentary was saying. Like, you're not going to be in any championship picture for a while. And when they said that, I was like, oh shit, LA Knight's losing.
Yeah, because there's no way Braun's losing. Like, like, there's no way Braun's losing. And it was interesting because LA Knight had that backstage promo earlier on Raw where he talked about, it was your typical LA Knight promo, but he talked about not having that championship around his waist, and like, hey, there's gonna be that World Heavyweight Championship around my waist. But then he lost, and it's weird, Bully, because we've talked a lot about LA Knight, but the fans are definitively behind LA Knight.
You know what LA Knight needs?
What?
A blood feud. Get him out of the championship picture and put him in a quote-unquote blood feud. Have a heel tell LA Knight, you're a one-trick pony, you're a flash in the pan, you're nothing more than a catchphrase. And let me tell you something, LA Knight, I don't think you understand this. So listen to me very, very carefully. These fans don't really like you. These fans don't really love you. All you have to do is say that to LA Knight, and you will immediately get the people behind him more than they are right now. And they're losing, even though they're with him during the match, it's going to be easy for fans to lose faith in him because he seems to be there, and then he loses. He's right there, and then he loses. They haven't had a chance to really cheer and truly get behind LA Knight for a big win. If he's out of the championship picture, have a heel come up to him and go, dude, you're useless. You're worthless. You've been in the business for 20 years and you haven't done shit. And other than them saying LA Knight and yeah, you got nothing. You're on your way to the mid-card, maybe opening match. Enjoy being irrelevant. Because the fans don't like you. If they really, really liked you, and then just go on and go, program the audience to love LA Knight. If I'm the heel in this situation, if I'm writing this, I'm basically telling the crowd how to respond. Like, if I'm in the middle of the ring and I go, I'm letting you know right now, people, if you say that I'm bald one more time, I'm leaving this town. You're bald, you're bald, you're bald. You program them to say whatever you want them to say. Well, I'm going to program them to love LA Knight, because as a heel, that's my job, to get him over. That's what you need to do with LA Knight. You need to make him a loved babyface, not a babyface with a couple of taglines.
Well, I mean, now's the perfect time to do it, Bully, because the fans seem to be behind LA Knight more than they ever have before. You got like that typical cookie cutter promo from LA Knight last night. You know, it wasn't heartfelt. There was no emotion behind it. And then he loses clean in an opportunity where he could have gone for the World Heavyweight Championship. So, Bully, if you're going to pull the trigger on something like that, now's the time to do it.
Once again, LA Knight, he's a talker. The people like to talk with him. They like to recite his taglines. LA Knight, yeah, let me talk to you. People are into that. That's the positive of LA Knight. Crushes larynx. Take his voice away. I've made this suggestion for people like CM Punk, the voice of the voiceless. We'll take the voice away from the voice of the voiceless. LA Knight, take his voice away. Put the steel chair on his neck and take another steel chair and smack it into the legs of that steel chair and drive the lip of the chair into his larynx, crush his larynx so he can't talk anymore. Until the time is right for, somebody to make fun of him and go, you can't even talk. You can't even talk. All you got is the people talking for you. Here, watch. And then the people go, LA Knight. And out of nowhere, LA Knight goes, yeah. And he talks for the first time again. The people will fucking blow. LA Knight starts blowing a comeback, and you've made a guy because we feel sympathetic for him because he overcame adversity and he got his voice back. Why the fuck am I not booking for somebody?
I would break his index finger so he can't do the point LA Knight thing. He has to use his pinky. It just doesn't have the same effect.
See, this is how you are. This is how you are. You take a perfectly good idea and you shit on it, you make fun of it with your stupid pinky. That's because your testosterone is low.
He break his index finger. He can't do that. LA, he has to use his thumb. He has to use his. It just doesn't have the same effect, Bully.
What finger am I using on you right now? Just be a good radio personality and describe to the audience. Paint a word picture of what finger I'm using on you right now.
It's not the index finger, I'll tell you that much.